Hi, welcome to Cocinando con los Iwits. Today I'm gonna show you how I make these delicious shredded beef tostadas that are super easy to make and they are so delicious. And I'm also gonna show you how I make this little consomme soup with the beef broth where we cook the meat to go with them as a side little dish. It's so delicious, so we don't waste anything. Okay, let's start. This is the meat that we're gonna use to cook this dish. This is called flat meat, arrachera, skirt meat, and this is the best meat to shred it. It's beef. We're gonna use around, these cloves were very small, so I'm using 4 cloves of garlic. You can just use 2 if they're like regular size. I'm gonna use 3 bay leaves. I'm gonna use onion, just like a 1/4 of onion. You don't need to cut it in smaller pieces, just leave it like this. And some beef bouillon. You can use the beef bouillon or just the salt. I'm gonna put the beef bouillon and a little bit of salt, and we're just gonna cook it until the meat is tender, soft, like we can just pull it apart. And it's gonna take around 2 hours boiling in a regular stove. If you want, you can cook it in a slow cooker, and it takes around 6 hours cooking it there slow. So we're gonna start with this recipe. These are the other ingredients that we're gonna need to make our tostadas. We're gonna use some refried beans, some jalapenos because I like the pickled jalapenos. You can use spicy sauce, any you want, but they taste delicious with this. Sour cream, some salsa if you have any. I have the recipe for this one in my channel if you want to see how I make it. Some tostadas, hard shell tortilla, and you can make those too if you want. You just fry a regular tortilla and make it into a tostada. We're gonna slice some cabbage, tomato, onion, and avocado. And those are the other ingredients that we're gonna need to make our tostadas. Okay, I forgot to tell you, we're gonna use some queso cotija too. We're just gonna like shred it and we're gonna add it to our tostadas. Okay, I have my pot ready. I'm just gonna add the meat. And if you like to wash your meat, you wash the meat so it doesn't have a lot of blood, but it's up to you. And then I'm gonna add the bay leaves, the onion, the beef bouillon, and a little bit of salt and the garlics. Okay, I added all my ingredients to the pot and I'm gonna put it in high heat until it boils, and then I'm gonna lower the heat to medium and I'm just gonna let it cook for around 2 hours. All this process is gonna be with the lid on so it boils faster and it cooks good and evenly. And I also forgot to tell you that I like to make the broth like this because a lot of people just throw the broth away, but I like to make like a little soup out of it. Once the meat is done, I'm gonna take out the meat and I'm gonna leave the broth to make a little soup. Okay guys, it's boiling now, so I'm just gonna lower my heat to medium heat instead of high, and I'm gonna let it sit there covered for I guess now it's like 1.5 hours. It's been 1.5 hours and I'm gonna check my meat to see if it's ready, if it's tender already. I'm just gonna grab it with the tongs and it's starting to fall apart already, so it's super soft. So I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna let it cool down. Just gonna put it right here so I can start shredding it. As you can see, it's super soft. It falls apart when I touch it. I have to taste it. So that means it's ready. It's perfectly cooked, super soft. Okay guys, well, the meat is ready. It's super soft. I'm just gonna let it cool down so I can start shredding the meat. It's super soft and it has such a good flavor because I added all those spices and everything. And this is where you have the option to keep the broth. I usually add the vegetables, whatever I have in the fridge, to the broth just to give it a little bit of flavor. While the soup was cooking, the meat was cooking, I chopped some potatoes, I had some fresh cilantro and some frozen carrots and peas. And that's what I'm gonna add to my broth to make the soup. Just so I don't waste the broth that has all the flavor from the meat. The soup is something completely optional. I just like to make it because I don't like to waste the broth, and it tastes delicious. When you're done shredding your meat, you can add some meat too, and you can use this as a separate dish for your family, or you can use the little broth to go with the tostadas. Okay, the meat is cooled down. Just make sure your hands are clean, wash them super good, and we're just gonna grab the meat. As you can see, it's falling apart, and we're just gonna start shredding the meat with our hands as thin as you want it. I remember when we used to go buy tostadas in Tijuana, the ladies used to like shred the meat like super thin to be able to make more tostadas, I guess. But it's just as thick or as thin as you want it, and it's super soft, so it's so easy to just shred it in little pieces with your hands. And this is the traditional way of doing it. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep doing this process until I'm done shredding the meat. You can make it as thin or as thick as you want. The thinner, actually, the better for the tostadas. So the meat is ready, it's shredded. Like I said, you can shred it in smaller pieces. I like it around this size, and it's ready for our dish. Okay, I sliced the cabbage, and I had some lettuce too, so I just mixed a little bit of lettuce with cabbage, whatever you like better. Avocados, I just cut it in half. Tomato and onion, I just cut them in slices. I have the cheese ready, queso cotija, sour cream, beans, and the salsa, the jalapenos, and the meat. And of course, the tostadas here too. Okay guys, we're gonna start making our tostadas. So you get your hard tortilla shell, and the first thing you're gonna add is the beans, and they are nice and warm. And the meat too is warm, but you can use the meat cold if you want. It's up to you. But I like to have the beans and the meat warm. So we're just gonna cover the whole tostada. And then you can either add the meat or the cabbage. I like to add the meat first, as much as you want. Then I'm gonna add the cabbage, as much as you want. Or you can add more meat on the top, it's up to you. Then we're gonna put slice of tomato, some onion. We're gonna put some avocado. And I just had the avocado cut in half, so I'm just gonna get some slices from there. As much as you want. I'm gonna put 3 slices on here. And then I'm gonna add some of the cheese, queso cotija. You can either use the more runny sour cream or the more solid, whatever you like better. And then any salsa that you have. I use this red salsa that I made the other day. If you want the recipe, it's on my channel. And then I love to add a jalapeno, either just like the whole jalapeno to the side, or just a slice of jalapeno on the top of the tostada. And again, if you like spicy, you add this. If not, you just keep it. And look how beautiful the tostada looks. And you just hold it and eat it. And you can make tostadas with many other ingredients. And that's the tostada. I'm gonna make a couple more. And I made already 3 tostadas. They look so delicious, and they are all a little bit different. Like I said, I like to put the beans and then the meat, but you can also do the beans, the cabbage, and then the meat like I did with this one. You can add as much salsa as you want, or jalapenos, and they look delicious. And you can serve these with the consomme, the soup that we made with the leftover broth is right here. So you can use it as a side dish or just a different meal. But my kids love soup and tostadas, so I just put it with this meal together, and it's perfect and delicious. Enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to Cocinando con los DeWitts and activate the bell. Thank you. Bye.